default outcome of a startup is failure. This misconception people have about business is that they are supposed to succeed. Well, a successful business is a miracle.
Yes.
Anybody can have an idea. And there's not very much you can do with an idea, right? That's why I say ideas are useless. It's great, fantastic fodder for what could then become something great. But in and of themselves, most ideas we all have, lots of people have it at the same time. So the question is, are you going to execute against your idea? Are you going to actually take that idea forward? Then it becomes something that the customer can use. The opportunities I'm most drawn to are opportunities that people have given up on solving. I remember when I came back, one of the problems I saw everywhere was unemployment. When somebody decides to live with a problem, they've made a decision that the outcome is more important to them than their comfort.
Yes.
And those are the best customers. Because if you can just increase comfort level by like 10%, they are very happy with you.
Yes.
If you do it 30%, they are very, very happy with you.
Yes.
If you do it 70%, they will start blessing your mother, your father, and they'll be, you changed my life. So for me, that was those are the problems I'm drawn to.
But how do you then spot and say, this guy, let's have him on the team, let him manage the finance, let him do this and that?
So I think what I've learned over time is that...
Hello people, welcome to another episode of Sound Minds Podcast. Sound Mind Podcast, where we interview sound minds that shape narrative, minds that put things in perspective, minds that help stimulate your mind and tell us what we should expect in the future. And talking about future, I have one of Nigeria's finest techpreneurs. I mean, when you talk about tech entrepreneurs, his name comes as number one. He has built two of the unicorn companies in Nigeria and Africa that have made about $1 billion. That is a big feat. And he's here with me today, Mr. Iyin Aboyeji. How are you, sir?
Thank you very much, Tolu.
I'm very well. Thank you so much for coming. I'm very excited. To have you with me today. And, I'll say the story at the end, how we got to meet and how this relationship has formed. But I just want to get right in because your story is very unique. You came from a very humbling background. I read that your grandfather was a butcher.
Yeah.
Babailero. Yes, and then your father is a pastor. He worked at Shell at some point and all of that. So I want to just know what was your growing up in terms of what were the things you saw that shaped your perspective to possibilities and knowing that things can be achieved at a higher scale.
Yeah. I had the benefit of watching my parents grow.
Yes.
Which I think is a rare privilege. And my parents were extraordinarily open about where we were, who we were, and how we were, how we had to be. So I remember when I was very young, one of my earliest memories was that at the time I was eating Cerelac, and my father would have to go and get that Cerelac on credit.
Yes. And
I also remember my father driving Kabu Kabu.
Wow.
Yeah, he would put me in the front seat and he would drive passengers around. People were much more good-natured. I think now you wouldn't get an Uber driver to do that.
Yes.
So I have memories, and I knew when my father eventually got his first breakthrough with now Merchant Bank. I remember when he moved from there to working for Shell, was a foundational staff at Shell Trustees. Before then, we went to Warri. I think we went to Warri when I was about 9, 10. Okay. My parents, just right about September 11, 2001, my parents started working. My dad started working in the oil industry. There, and then I was shortly to Lagos at first, and over time we moved there with him. He was a community relations officer. That was the only way he could get a promotion. And then he was serving in the church. At the time, they needed somebody to go and serve in the church in Warri under the late Olu of Warri.
Oh, wow.
At Atuashi III. So I grew up watching my parents go from leaps and bounds. So I understand, it helped me understand how wealth and fortune actually is formed and how God can lift somebody. And for me, the elemental things that really formed the way, what I took from my own life, was, for one, it was power of giving. I don't remember many nights in my childhood where I slept on my bed by myself. And it was you would have the most random people and things just happen, right? So you just have somebody come and, okay, this person needs this person, and so for me, I saw my dad give when there was nothing to give. The second thing was the power of faith, right? The power of the word of faith. My father actually was a very, he came from the faith liberation movement with Bishop Oyedepo.
Okay.
And before I was born, of course, so he spent time with them, and he was very much into Word of Faith movement, then moved to Foursquare. Right? And obviously kept his roots as a Word of Faith minister. But I saw my father speak life into things that everybody assumed were dead, and I watched how faith got him from one level of breakthrough to the other. So for me, I always say that the only gift I really have, I'm not very talented, but the gift I have is the gift of faith. I've watched impossible things happen too many times in my life for me not to believe. So when somebody says something and they see impossibilities, I'm just like, do you know what God can do? And so that was the second thing. And I would say the third thing is just, I really had the privilege of watching my father stand up for justice and righteousness in ways that anyone else would have considered risky. And one of my earliest memories as well was I was just maybe a little bit over 7. My father had stood up against, at the time, Abacha. It was Abacha.
Wow.
So stood up against a fraud within the Shell Trustees. And at that time, there was a lot of rife abuse of power and all that. Yes. And I watched them come take my dad, and he refused to budge.
Wow.
You understand? He wasn't the one who stole the money. All he just needed to do was acquiesce, and he refused. And for that, he was taken away, and I watched that happen, and I watched the way he handled a lot of the negotiations during the Niger Delta amnesty crisis. I managed to watch, and my mom as well. I mean, maybe I keep repeating my dad, but my mom was also one of those. They are very, they don't fear anybody except God. So I think I took some of that. It's just very difficult for me to cower because it's just hard, when you know where you come from and you just like, you have to Baba, why you won't do this now? So what's the matter? And also, they were always willing to walk away from anything that didn't match their standard and their values, right? They were not strife people. If somebody annoyed them, I'll just say, you know what? Just go. I just want my peace. Just go. So those were the values that I grew up with. And I think when I think back to the kind of choices I make today and how I got where I am, those were the things that really shaped how I work.
That's so powerful because, but in between you said that you are not the brainy type, but you're not the one that has many talents.
And I don't have many
talents. No. I actually, I can't settle with that because you were someone that actually wanted to be a lot of things when you were growing up. You said at some point you wanted to be a policeman, you wanted to be a cab driver. At some point you did law. At some point you wanted to be a diplomat.
Yes.
Now you are not in tech, and so like how can you say you are not talented and you want to do that amount of things?
You can want to be a lot of things and not be talented. One might have something to do with the other. Well, for me, when early on, I was just following the money, and in my small brain, the only person my dad gave money to, and my dad is not wasteful, right? He's generous, but he's not wasteful. So, if my dad was giving money to somebody, I knew it was important. Yes. And back in the day, the only people I saw him give money to, police, and the filling station attendant.
Yes, they always had money on their hand. A lot of money.
I always looked at it as, well, these are the people that earn all the money in Nigeria,
yeah.
because that's what I could see, right? Which is very very interesting, and it makes me think a lot about power of thought. But the other side of it was also that I had many interests. Now, by the time I got to senior secondary, I knew I was going to study law.
Yes.
In fact, my dad was the pressure saying, look, the truth of the matter is, given where the country is and where it's going, a science and engineering, math education is what is required, because the country needs to build.
Yes.
So why don't you go in that line? You're smart enough to pass the exam. So just endure the whatever it is, right? You don't have to like it, but this is what's going to make money.
Yes.
But I refused. I mean, I remember changing, my course while I was in school, and that was one of the few days that my dad came for visiting there. So I changed back to arts, and I studied law. Now, when you study law, you really don't have many options.
No,
you're either going to be a diplomat, you're going to go into business, commercial law, or you'll be a professor. That's really what it is,
of course,
right? So
you have to teach it.
I thought about the diplomat route, and I tried it. Didn't like it. I just felt they talk a lot, and I wasn't that kind of person. I mean, I tried I wanted to be a professor, and to be honest, that was probably where I would have ended up, right? Because I did have the faculties for it, to be fair. But, I ended up just meeting a gentleman on campus who had, Pierre Aries. And that encounter was really what changed my life, changed my trajectory, right? And I got sucked into the velocity ecosystem. And I was the only lawyer in the room. So I was the only one who understood. He had the legal parts of the technology you're building, and I could help protect the engineers from that. And I guess that has been my job ever since.
Well, has that been your job even in the companies?
Yeah, I think my job generally is to protect the real talent. I'm not one of them, so my job is just to make sure that the people who actually do the work don't have to worry about all the admin and legal and business related issues. Of course, I mean, doing that over time gives you a bit of product insight. You have a bit of psychological insight. You have a sense of how people buy.
Yes.
You can help the engineers to build what is necessary.
Yes.
But I'm not under any illusion that I'm a technologist. I don't code. I do not code. I've never written a sane line of code in my life.
Wow.
So I no idea. I can read it now.
I'm hearing this for the first time.
I'm telling you, I can read it now, but I don't code. So I'm never the technologist. I'm always the guy who can engage the customer, engage the authorities, and figure out how the technology can be applied to real life.
This is the first time I'm actually, because I always used to think that he's one code guy who sit down on the computer just all night.
I'm telling you, I'm not.
Well, okay, so would you say that you getting into tech was more of like positioning, and you were just in the company of people who were doing this, and you found a way to position yourself?
Honestly, it was just, God positioned me, because I'll tell you, look. So how did I meet Pierre? First day of school, there's this Polish guy, long hair, bumps into me, and I'm like, oh, sorry. And he's like, oh, what class are you in? Oh, we're both in St. Jerome, which was like a college within the University of Waterloo. So he says, well, look, my room is not ready.
Yes.
Can I crash at yours tonight? My mom was there. So the correct answer should have been no, right?
Nigerians.
But you remember my upbringing. I'm very used to, so I just thought, my mom won't mind now. It's not a serial killer. He went to school with me.
Yes.
So I say, yes, come, you can come crash at mine. And he came and he crashed. And my mom cooked for both of us.
Wow.
And that's how Pierre became my friend. Now, the problem was we have something called cooperative education. So people work different streams. So you're on campus different times. I went to the UN. He went, I think now I know, to Silicon Valley.
Yes.
So we lost touch. One day, I was running the school newspaper. We jam in the student courtyard where we eat. I was like, Pierre, where have you been? He's like, I went to Silicon Valley. I went to work for I said, this Silicon Valley thing, I didn't know it was people at my age, like people like you that build all this stuff. So he started telling me about it. I got very enamored.
Wow.
He now told me there was a residence on campus that had been converted into a campus, a residence for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So that's how I got into the Velocity. Obviously, I couldn't afford to live there, but I went and visited them every day and hang around them.
Yeah.
At that time, people like, what's the name of this founder of Ethereum? We was there. There were a bunch of people, very famous people.
I heard the BlackBerry founder was there as well.
No, BlackBerry founder graduated from our school, but at that time he was much older.
Okay.
But BlackBerry was literally on the campus.
Okay.
Right. That was literally where they made them.
Yeah.
So, I just bumped into all these tech people and I became their go-to guy for legal stuff.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, and pizza, I would buy pizza, do legal stuff. I wrote my first investment into my own company, Bookneto. The late Olu of Wari gave me I still a $5,000 Wachovia securities check, and my dad was like, "This should go towards your school fees." I was like, "No, he gave it to me." So I took that money and I invested it in Bookneto, which was the first one. And so people kind of just came to me because they just figured, "Oh, this guy is like a savvy business guy." But I was never the tech guy. Never. I never, in any business I've been in, I was never the tech guy.
Oh, wow.
I never tried to be.
Even till now?
Till now. I mean, I am not in any business. In all the businesses, my role is always very clear. My job is to make sure the business runs. And I make sure that the technology and the product that we promised is delivered to the customer.
Yeah. So are you a corporations guy?
So core operations, I mean, at my level, I would say I can run operations. Do I actually run day-to-day operations? Perhaps not. But I understand and I can lay out what an operating model needs to look like.
Yeah.
And I haven't done this so many times, most times in the businesses I'm in, my direct line of engagement is with the guys who are running operations because I understand that world very well.
Yeah.
I also understand legal, of course, and the business side.
Yeah.
But I also don't do the finances. So that's also another part.
You also don't do the finances?
No, I don't.
Wow.
I raise the money and then I hire a fantastic financial planning and analysis guy.
Okay, so I think you're like one of the people that actually go around pitching, talking to this person I see opportunity here.
Yes.
It's better for you to tap into this. Oh wow, I'm just realizing.
That's what I do. Just a hype man.
Yeah. Hype man. Yeah, okay. But a lot of people just knew Andela, Flutterwave, now Future Africa, but they didn't know that you actually had Bookneto. Feel that didn't really.
I mean, it wasn't the outcome we expected, but it was a fantastic training ground for learning. I learned a lot doing Bookneto. I did it while I was in school. The idea was very simple. When we started, we wanted to replace our school's learning management system.
Yes.
There were obviously a bunch of impracticalities involved because we were students in the school whose learning management system wanted to replace, which basically meant the school had to trust us not to change our own scores, which so I don't think we grabbed how crazy the idea was at the time. But then we pivoted, right, to become a platform for people to share questions and answers from past questions.
Yes.
So revise past questions together. That worked out a bit, but that put us in trouble because in Waterloo at the time, and still, question papers are professors' IP. And in Waterloo, professors own all their IP.
Yes.
So the professors basically put up their hand and said, this kid is monetizing our IP. So it should be, in fact, they first of all suggested we should be expelled. But the Dean of Student Affairs just managed to smooth things over. But then the faculty representative reached out to us and said, hey, no problems, but I want to talk to you guys about your technology. Maybe you can help me monetize my content.
So it's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. And then we started to do that with them until we sold the business to this professor, Andrew Maxwell. So that's basically how Bookneto went.
Okay, so you sold Bookneto?
Yeah, we sold it. We sold it to Andrew Maxwell, the Professor Andrew Maxwell. He was teaching an entrepreneurship course outside the university, and he wanted to do it on his own system because he felt the school took too much of a cut.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so before I draw back, I ask the question about how you spot opportunity, how you spot people, because your role actually deals with spotting talent, spotting opportunities, and all. I've heard you say ideas are useless.
Yes.
Why?
Because anybody can have an idea. And there's not very much you can do with an idea, right? Like the reality of the matter is, as powerful as an idea is, it's not, you can't do anything with it. The customer cannot do anything with your idea, no matter how good it is.
Yes.
Right? You know, can you imagine, walking into Cafe One and being like, you know what? I have an idea. I'm not paying for the coffee, but I have an idea.
It can't work. It does not do anything for Cafe One.
It's for Cafe One. So that's why I say ideas are useless. It's great, fantastic for that, for what could then become something great, but in and of themselves. And the other thing is, the truth is, most ideas we all have, lots of people have it at the same time.
Yes.
So the question is, are you going to execute against your idea? Are you going to actually take that idea forward?
Yes.
Then it becomes something that the customer can use. But if it just remains an idea. And then the other thing is that, I always say one of the misconceptions about building a business, particularly in Nigeria, is that the default outcome is success. And if you failed, you did something wrong.
Yes.
When the reality is actually the opposite. Right? The default outcome is failure, and you did something different to succeed.
Yes.
And most times you maybe failed in the early stages and quickly learned from it and then pivoted
into
and then failed and then pivoted. I can tell you, the original idea for Andela is not what people see today. Wow. Very far. The original idea for Andela was to train Salesforce administrators. And it doesn't look like it's something that we even consider today. You know what I mean? So
an idea is really formless. It
doesn't mean anything. Yeah. So when it engages the market then it now starts to
this is where we tweak it, this is where we shift. Okay,
that's exactly it.
So idea is like a clay. It assumes the form you want it to assume if you put in action.
Well, if you think about it as you want it to assume, I think that's also a mistake people make. It assumes the form of utility. For example, if you want to make a cup, it doesn't matter what you want the cup to be. Yes. The cup has to have a handle, has to be able to carry water, and then it's useful. If you create like a scrumped up piece of paper and you say, this is a cup, everybody's just going to look at you and be like, okay, thank you very much. But I can't use the cup.
For anything, yes.
Or if you just put a small mound inside and just be like, oh, it's a cup. Can't you see you can put small water inside? Like, well, yeah, okay, nice cup for you. Yeah. Not for me. So it's about what the utility is. Yes. It's not about what you want. Yes, it's about what does the market want.
Yes, very true. Okay, so let's go into how you spot opportunity. How do I know? How do I? Because I know that a lot of people, because of the position you hold, a lot of people come to you every day with different ideas, different pitches. I have proposal too.
It's the job.
Different proposals. So how are you able to spot and say this one is the one? And have there been any cases where you walked away from an idea and then you later saw that it was actually doing so well?
Oh yeah. Many times. I mean, that's the hallmark of the job. You always have the wrong idea about the ideas. Yes. So that, I mean, and you learn from them. But many situations. But I would say, well, for me, and I think this is different for everybody because there's no universal way to spot ideas, but there are ideas, there are opportunities that seem right to you. And for me, the opportunities I'm most drawn to are opportunities that people have given up on solving. So I always say it's the problem people walk by and live with. So I remember when I came back to Nigeria, I mean, one of the problems I saw everywhere was unemployment. Young people didn't have work to do.
Yes.
Period. And, people solve it different ways. They use their connection, they call their mother, they call their uncle.
Nepotism.
That's how people kind of try to solve it. And my mindset was always, well, look, it's not that there's no work in the world. Maybe there's no work in oil companies or government, but there's work. It's just we need to find the work, right?
Yes.
So my mindset was, look, how do we create an opportunity where we identify work from all over the world, train people to do that work, and then make money from helping them get that work. And that Andela,
yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, for me, it's always the problems. I remember when we were thinking about Flutterwave at the time, I was just very angry with InterSwitch because I remember trying to do an integration. they were first of all charging 500,000 naira, which at the time, naira was 100 naira, 114
Yes.
to $1.
Yes.
So that's basically the equivalent of $500
Yes.
today, right? So
yes.
imagine someone charging you $500, then putting you on Skype, which was an absolutely horrible platform, with very arrogant engineers who would take 3 months to integrate your platform,
Yes.
and you would still have to pay an engineer on